Greetings, Russ, and whoever else on the OC faculty of the electronics department may be watching this video. I am Dwayne Uptain, and this is my final project for the Advanced Digital Electronics course at Olympic College. Behold, I have created the bird counting bird feeder. This feeder is mainly built of wood. It is designed with two stems of tree branch that has been cut and sanded, and those are fastened to a housing. That is a disc of log that was also cut and sanded, fastened together, so that you have two hanging suet feeders with two feeders on each branch. So you have two on the front, you have two on the rear, and each of these feeders have a perch just below it, and these perches, as you can maybe see here in the video, are spring loaded. The spring is glued into the hole, and the perch is glued into the spring, and each perch has a wood paddle attached to it into a carved slot and glued in there, made out of popsicle stick. And what this is designed to do is, if you can see here, this is actually a photo interrupter, a slotted photo interrupter, and when a bird alights on the perch, the spring perch will cause the paddle to enter inside of the slot, and so the infrared beam from the emitter to the sensor keeps it at a logic high until it is interrupted, and then a logic low is sent to the chip. And there are 4 of these, so that it can accommodate up to 4 birds at any given time and count all of them. The housing is where most of the electronics are contained. This is where the circuit board's at, all the wiring, and the battery compartment, etc. And it is covered for moisture resistance with a green felt laid over with plexiglass fastened over the top of it, and then the hanger attached to that for hanging. So the suet feeder is constructed. It's just basically a tea candle holder that has the wax removed and glued into a small hole, 1.5 inch hole, drilled with a paddle bit. And so let's give a demonstration here. So as you can see, the power's on and the count is defaulted to 0. So when you do have a bird land on the perch, as you can see here, let me get this right. There we go. And so when the bird lands on the perch, it will begin to count into the slot, and this is true of all 4 of the perches. Do all 4 of them here. Perch through there. Oh, that one got a little stuck, sorry. There we go. And the 4th one here. So you can see our count is going up steadily. Now this feeder will count up to 9,999 birds, because as you can see, it's a 4-digit display. When the 10,000th bird, if it ever gets to that point, we do have a lot of birds around here, it will revert to 0. However, there is a colon for the DP driver that will light up after that point, which will be a 10,000 indicator, and it will begin to count again to 9,999. So basically this counter will count up to 19,999 birds. So we have the reset button. If we want to get it back to 0, just hit that, and it goes back to 0. Now this project took a long time in the making, longer than I wanted it to. It took about 9 to 10 months for me to come up with the design and the construction, as I had time with work and family duties in between. But this was a bit of a challenge working with wood, and this is the first time I've tried to wire with wood and get electronics to work in tandem with the wood. Probably one of the more difficult tasks was to actually get the wiring from the slotted interrupters, 2 on each one, all up into the housing to be connected to the circuit board. And that was a bit of a challenge. I had, in order to get the wiring up there without being exposed, I had to get a very long 1/4-inch drill bit and drill all the way through the center from top to bottom. And then when I drilled through the 2 holes, it was 1 hole connecting where the 2 slotted interrupters go. Sorry, I'll show you a little closer here. So there's 1 hole drilled perpendicular, and then each sensor has its wiring, and those go up through the center and up into the housing. Another challenge, and it always seems to be a challenge for me, is connecting the 7-digit LED display to the chip. This particular display is more designed to go into the circuit board itself and be soldered there. The pins from the indicator are very close together, and so it was a bit of a challenge to get the wires soldered to that and get that connected to the circuit board separately so that it could be displayed on the housing rather than connected directly. So that was a challenge. Probably the other biggest challenge, besides dealing with the rat's nest of the wiring in this small space, was actually getting the wood to cooperate. Because as I also learned, even though this isn't a woodworking class, hardwood, when it dries from being freshly cut, will actually develop some very large cracks. And during the construction of this, a significant piece had broken off of the disc of the housing, and I had to glue it back on there. And that explains this piece here. This is it's not a piece, but it's a crack filler that I've used some great stuff with. So there's that discoloration there. That explains that. But anyway, it's working fine now. Anything I would change if I had to do over again, and I may do this in the future, is I'm probably going to design the perches a little bit better so that they're a little bit more reliable. I don't know how long these will last with birds constantly landing on them. So I'd like to get something a little bit hardier. The challenge with that is that these birds can be as light as 0.6 ounces. So there's a balance with the spring to where you need to be able to detect the bird landing on the perch without the spring being so loose that it allows the paddle to give false triggers with the slotted interrupters. So anyway, that is my little invention, and I'm looking forward to setting it out and seeing how it does out in the wild. And I'd just like to thank you, Russ, for all your help and for all your patience through these months. It was a long time coming, and I am proud of the work, and I look forward to getting your feedback on it and seeing what your final assessment of my final project is. So anyway, have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.